SEDAT Consult, in partnership with Glyco Life Insurance, presents SEDAT HR Digest Soiree and the launch of the SEDAT HR Digest magazine. The theme for the event is Harmony in HR, balancing work, wellness, and well-being. Speakers are Ms. Cynthia Kudowu, founder, HR Network Africa, and country manager of BTO Marketing Solutions. Mr. Senyor Ejabin, labor consultant and director of WBHO Ghana, and Mrs. Ladona Ajiman-Buahin, chief operations officer, Glyco Life, and the guest of honor is Patrick Esiama, CEO and board member, Sinlab Ghana. Happening live at the British Council, Accra, on Saturday, the 29th of June, 2024, at 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. sharp. The fee is a cool 100 Ghana cedis. You can call 0591 405555. Don't miss out.
Tropical storms, flooding, wildfires, drought, shrinking fish catch. In a world of ever-increasing uncertainty, nothing is predictable. The smallest stumble or fumble easily ends in a mighty tumble, with your world crashing down around you. Don't crumble. Glyco always has your back. Glyco, we cushion you for life.
Hello everyone. Good evening. I welcome you to another educative and enlightening episode of the SEDAT HR Digest. I am Ophelia Nyamiche, your host for today. So today we are going to discuss a very interesting and important subject matter that I think doesn't get quite the attention it deserves. We're going to talk about employee well-being and mental health support. And we're going to look at what it means, why is it important, and to the organization's bottom line. We are privileged to have with us a very able resource person who is well equipped to do justice to this subject matter. But before I introduce our guest for today, I would like to share some important information on our upcoming events at SEDAT Consult. So, have you been struggling to get your management to see the true impact and value of your work as an HR professional? Or are you tired of talking till you're faint, trying to convince management about the benefits of some existing or new HR initiatives? Maybe it's about time you change how you present your case using compelling data as evidence. You should let that talk for you from now on. And so SEDAT is right here to the rescue with a 3-day hands-on training program using data analytics to measure HR's contribution to business. This is a 3-day event and is slated for Wednesday, 26th June, which is exactly 10 days from today, actually, and it will end on Friday, the 28th of June. And it's going to be an in-person session, which will be taking place at the SEDAT conference room located at number 8 Morendo Street, Nyamiche, behind the Qatar International Hostel. You can direct all your inquiries about this event to SEDAT Consult or via call or WhatsApp on 0244 629245, and you'll be duly assisted. So we look forward to seeing all of you. Right after this intense training on analytics, we are going to wind down and network with fellows in the HR fraternity at the HR Digest, at the SEDAT HR Digest and launch of the SEDAT HR Digest magazine, which is happening on Saturday, 29th of June, which is exactly the day after the training. And this event is brought to you in collaboration with Glyco Life Insurance. The theme of this event is harmony in HR, balancing work, wellness, and well-being. We have lined up for you a mix of remarkable speakers for this event who are powerhouses in their own right. The venue for the SEDAT HR Digest soiree and magazine launch is the British Council, Accra, and the time is 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. The rate is a cool 100 cedis. 100 cedis only. For inquiries, please call us on 059 140 5555. You can also reach us on various social media handles, Facebook, LinkedIn, and IG at SEDAT Consult Limited, and on TikTok at SEDAT Consult HR. For our YouTube, our handle is SEDAT HR Digest. Again, this event is powered by SEDAT Consult in partnership with Glyco Life Insurance. Now, back to the agenda of the day. We turn the spotlight to our guest for today's discussion. I have here with me Madam Patience Osekwe, who is a consultant, psychotherapist, and a wellness expert, and a registered member of BACP, which is British Association of Counsellors and Psychotherapists in the UK, and also a registered member of HCPC, which is the Health and Care Professionals Council, also in the UK. Madam Osekwe has a wealth of experience and expertise in providing health and well-being services for individuals, groups, and organizations. Currently, she is the Managing Director of Supreme Healthcare Management Services and a subsidiary of EAP Africa in Ghana, which is a pioneering initiative in sub-Saharan Africa, providing 24/7 employee assistance program and well-being services consultancy to organizations within various industries in Ghana. Their goal is to enhance employee well-being, performance, and productivity. Currently, she's also in the process of writing a book titled Emotional Literacy. And with that, I welcome you, Madam Patience Osekwe, to the HR Digest.
Thank you so much, Ophelia. Thank you so much. And good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. And thanks very much to the HR SEDAT Consult for inviting me to share my knowledge on this particularly important subject, as you highlighted, Ophelia. And may I also take this opportunity to wish fathers on the platform a happy Father's Day. Okay?
Yes.
Great,
Yes.
great.
That is in order.
Good. Thank you so much. So I think what we're going to do, I'm just going to do just a brief presentation. Then following that, we can ask questions. So if you can put your questions as I'm presenting into the chat box, that'll be really helpful so that at the end we clean it all, then we'll be able to discuss that. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much. Great. Right. So, I mean, the theme, as Ophelia has highlighted, is strategies for employee well-being and mental health support. Okay. So the expected learning outcomes that I've outlined here is to actually understand the concept of employee well-being and mental health, and then also to learn how to create a positive work environment culture that promotes employee well-being and mental health, and then look at some of the effective strategies that we can implement to be able to develop, employee wellness program. Okay, I will start by highlighting some research, okay? And very, very interesting research. It says the workplace challenge in behavioral health and cost to the Ghanaian economy. Research in 2021 evidenced that Ghana loses 7% of its GDP annually to mental health and well-being related issues. I think that is quite really concerning. And I didn't get time to put all the research together on this, but the depth of it illustrated that it is even higher than malaria. The annual sort of statistics of malaria. So mental health is actually ranking high in terms of its effect on GDP. So we see how vital it is important that we maintain and promote a mentally healthy workforce within our community, because it goes far to enhance socioeconomic development and also to enhance the GDP. Okay. I saw this quite recently, and it was just very interesting. And it says here, research has shown that more than 2/3 of employees report that their manager has a much impact on their mental health than their partner, and more impact than their doctor or therapist, which is very serious. That the work environment is such that it is highly stressed, and obviously because of the high demands, meeting deadlines, the pressure for managers, and obviously I would expect that managers are also having that pressure from their bosses too. So this is how mental health is trending in the workplace. Okay, I would like you to have a look at this picture, and if that resonates with you, you can put a comment in the chat box. Aspects of it resonates with me very well. So this is your typical employee who is going through all these things. So the mental space, their mind is preoccupied with all these things: anxiety about the Ukraine and Russian war, chronic fatigue, retirement, she's burnt out, anxiety and depression, fuel prices, which obviously is going up really high. And I don't know about you, the prices are changing of commodities are changing astronomically every day, and we can't even keep a tab on it. So all these things are going on with this lady, which I can relate to. So as I said, you can put you can put a comment in the chat box. So you can just imagine what she's going through, and whether with that mind space, will she be productive at work? What would her performance look like? These are the things that we need to reflect on when we're talking about employee well-being and then mental health in the workplace. Okay, George, are we able to play that? George, are you there with me? Thank you. Great, thank you so much. So I don't know whether can you replay it again, please, quickly? Okay. Thank you so much. Great. So this is a clip that is illustrating a manager who is being bombarded with demands from her staff. Everybody wants something from her. She's on the phone. Other people are coming out. Can you sign this for me? Can you do this for me? So I don't know, managers on the school, if that is your experience, how do you manage that? How do you manage your mental health? How do you manage your mental well-being? And how also do you ensure that your staff mental health and well-being are being catered for? Okay. Right, so now let's look at what is employee well-being. So the definition here says that employee well-being is defined as the overall mental, physical, emotional, economic, social, spiritual, intellectual, and occupational health of employees. So the totality of everything. And when you work with people, you're working with the whole person, not just a part of them. So it is really important that that sense of wholeness translate into resources and support. But these resources and support needs to be really structured and coordinated so that it has an impact in terms of the well-being of employees and also enhancing performance and productivity. Okay, so that is employee well-being. So again, I mean, the aim is that to get employees to be physically fit, nutritionally healthy, emotionally stable, and then mentally resilient. Really, really important. Now let's come to the definition of the mental health. WHO defines mental health as a state of mental well being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life, realize their abilities to learn well, work well, and contribute to their community. And when I'm talking about mental health here, let me be very clear. I'm not talking about mental illness. There's a difference between mental health and mental illness, and sometimes we get sort of mixed up with it. And I think that is one of the key things that obviously it is sort of heightening the stigma. So when we talk about mental health, we're talking more in terms of the well-being, as is illustrated here, the psychosocial well-being. So we're looking at your mind space. So we're looking at your creativity, your sense of judgment, your choices, your lifestyle, your emotions, your thoughts, your innovation, your sense of judgment. Everything encapsulates your mental well-being. Then when that is not in a good state, then it translates into a mental illness whereby you are diagnosed with a mental illness. So we say that somebody's got bipolar, somebody's got, severe depression. So there's a distinction between mental health and mental well-being. So we all go through, mental health related issues, right? Sometimes when, you wake up in the morning, you just don't feel like getting out of bed, you know, it affects you. So it's really important that we're very, very clear about that so that we do not sort of have a negative connotation anytime we hear mental health. Mental health is a good thing. It's like we have your physical health. And the thing is that it's really important because our mental well-being is what defines our functionality. The body is a servant of the mind. Once the mind is sound, the body will align. So it's really, really important that we're clear about this. Okay, then. So now let's look at why employee well-being and mental health matters. Employee well-being and mental health are essential to a healthy, sustainable, and productive organization. Work and mental health are inextricably linked. Right. So let's look at one of some of the importance of it. It reduces absenteeism. So as the definition, as I've really defined it, and we get to the strategies and you'll be really clear about it. So when you've got a well-being program or wellness program in place whereby your employees or staff can tap into it, right? They take proactive measures to ensure, or preventative measures to make sure that they don't get to the extent whereby, they are ill before seeking help. So it helps in terms of early intervention and early identification. So that alone will reduce absenteeism. Again, it reduces interpersonal conflict. Once, obviously, employees are happy, right? They're happy, they look forward to coming to work, the team cohesion is on a high, they're delivering, their bosses are happy with them. It minimizes interpersonal conflict because they're happy. And I tell you what, happy employees are the best brand ambassadors a business can ever have. So it is this employee well-being and employee, mental health is very, very, It's a game changer. It's a game changer. So it's really, really important. So I hope that, I mean, we take this seriously and prioritize it and not just have it as a tick box exercise. Yeah, we need to have that because we've got some KPIs that we need to meet. Yes, we've got somebody who comes in to do some exercises with the staff every month or every other month we go up the Eburi Mountains. Now, there has to be, strategic interventions, which I'll talk about it later. It enhances the image of the organization, as I've already said, that, happy employees are the best, brand ambassadors that as a business can ever have. It maximizes positive work outcomes. Again, when employees are at their best and they are functioning very well, they focusing, they know that there is support whenever they need it, they will do their best. And when the employees are happy, you achieve the best and you get the best out of them. It creates safe, rewarding, and productive workplace. Yes, people will feel safe to be themselves, to be their authentic self. They're not coming to work thinking that, oh my God, this workplace again, I can't stand it. My manager is, giving me loads of problems and stuff. But they know that if even they have challenges, it's a safe environment. The culture has been nurtured that they feel safe, to be in that environment and manage their emotions and also to express any challenges they might be going through. And obviously, if all these things are in place, then it will reduce employee turnover. When you've got a really fully functional well-being programs that supports the well-being of employees, why would they go somewhere else? They would love to stay in the organization. So it reduces employee turnover. And then it lowers the overall healthcare costs. As I say, once you've got this program, it is a preventative measure and obviously proactive measure. So at the end of the day, once the preventative measures are in place, then we don't get to the point whereby we accessing curative care. So it will definitely translate into lowering the overall healthcare costs and reducing that budget. So at the end of the day, it's going to work for the organization. Right. Why employee well-being and mental health matters as we continue. Research has shown that 12 billion working hours are lost every year due to depression and anxiety for 1 trillion USD in lost productivity, as I've mentioned. So this is an international one, a US research. I mentioned the Ghana one in terms of the GDP. So you can look at the cost of not putting mental health support and employee well-being support in place in organization and the overall cost. Our mental state defines our level of functioning. And when employees are preoccupied with issues, it impacts on their productivity. As I highlighted earlier, our mind space is the epicenter of our functionality. From the time we woke up from bed this morning, the decisions that we made, even deciding to get out from bed, to have a shower, to brush your teeth, to have something to eat, to plan for the week, even to be part of this session, it was all, decided in your mental space, in your mind, right? So again, it is really important that the subject of mental health is a business imperative and a strategic priority in organizations. Okay. Now, let's look at the mental health strategies and then the levels in terms of an organization. And again, at this juncture, as I go through it, it will be useful also to reflect on where you are at in terms of your current wellness journey. That is, if you've got something in place, it's really important that you evaluate that and obviously put something in the chat box. So the stages are level one, which is the foundation stage, this is when the organization is in the early stages of the workplace mental health journey. And it's really important at this stage that if you are at this stage, obviously, you are sort of conducting surveys to find out what staff needs are, their wellness needs are, making sure that their needs is reflective of whatever initiative or whatever support services that you have in place. It's very, very, very key. So that's the foundation level. And then when we come to the advanced level, this is where the organization will be moving towards the level when it is maybe a year or two into their mental health strategy. So obviously, once you have undertaken a survey and or a wellness audit, and you're able to match the needs of your staff to whatever resources that needs to be put in place to address those needs, then that will inform your mental health strategies, whereby you've got, indicators that will help you in terms of measuring and evaluating whether you've met that. Really important. Then you come to the, so we've got the foundation level, which is level one. You come to the advanced level, which is level two. Then we come to the leading level, whereby the organization has successfully accumulated significant experience in implementing mental health strategies to enhance its employee well-being. It doesn't mean that you have to have everything, have all these sophisticated initiative and stuff. If even it's just a simple initiative of maybe having a fitness instructor coming in weekly basis to do some exercises with staff, or maybe having a walking club, or having a sort of challenges in terms of let's say how do you call maybe weight loss challenges, whatever the initiative is, it's really important that it meets the needs of your staff, and you're able to measure the impact. So it's really, really important that you're able to measure the impact and not just putting something in place that obviously will not benefit the staff. Okay. Now we go to the next slide, which is strategies. Sorry, things move a bit. Sorry. I don't know, I've pressed something. Oh, okay, sorry. I need to go back to that. Okay, so now let's look at the strategies for well-being and mental health, how the stage by stage. So the first thing is to develop an action plan, all right? And developing an action plan, as I've already highlighted, is to, take time, obviously, to, understand the well-being needs of your staff, as I highlighted earlier, and then also conduct a survey, and then draw an action plan. It's really important that you get staff also involved in sort of coming up with an action plan that obviously speaks to their needs. Really, really important. And make sure that the action plan addresses their daily challenges. What are they going through? Really important. And then number two, promote an open culture and tackle stigma. Yes, we're talking about mental health, very, very important. But if obviously mental health is still a silent subject, it's still a taboo subject. I think we've progressed now and we're making advancement in that area. So I don't think it's a taboo subject any longer. But I think in terms of the openness of it, in terms of normalizing conversations around it, we've got a long way to go. So it's really important that we promote a culture where people can come in and talk the same way. You say that okay, I'm not feeling well. I think I've got a bit of malaria coming on, or I've got a bit of a flu or whatever. How can we feel comfortable to talk about, yeah, I'm a bit down, I'm having some relationship challenges, and, I think it's affecting my well-being, I might need to speak to, a counselor, I might need to speak to a psychologist or something. I think it's very, very important. Working ways that create positive working ways that create positive mental health, very, very important, I think. And working ways to create positive um, mental health. So again, as managers, do we nurture a culture whereby our staff can trust us when they're going through anxiety, when they're going through mental health related issue? Do they feel comfortable to confide in us? And do we keep it confidential and help and support them? Or do we go and talk about it to other people? I think it's really important that we create that positive mental health environment. Empower people to look after themselves and others. Again, I'll talk about the need to have mental health literacy training. Really, really important, so that people are aware in terms of some of the signs to identify. Self-awareness is very, very key. When you're not at the best of your functionality, when you've been so sad for a long time, when you've been bereaved, whatever the situation is, and you're not coping very well, how do you manage that? Do you keep it to yourself? Do you repress it? Do you suppress it? It's very, very, very important, because when these things are not addressed, it has a way of affecting us physiologically. Research has shown that in terms of the integrate interplay between a psychoneuroimmunology. So basically, I mean, sorry about the jargon, the link between our psychological processes, our nervous system, and also our immune system. They are intricately related. So if we don't prioritize our mental well-being, and we sort of sit silent on it, and we work in an organization doesn't promote that, and doesn't have structured well-being programs to support staff, then obviously staff will end up having, physiological situations or illness, which in the long run is going to cost the company a lot of money, because obviously they're going to tap into the healthcare, budget, which obviously will increase, the usage of it, and then you end up getting high, bills to pay, whereby we can sort of, prevent it by providing well-being support. Okay, then we've got here, ensure people can access, and sorry, it should be access, sorry, and tools and support. So again, it's really important that when these support systems are put in place, it's really important that they're visible and they're accessible, that and there need to be lots of communication about it, so that people know about it, not just the communication, training, so that people understand the benefits of it, because we live in a culture whereby these things, I remember very well when I first relocated to Ghana, and then we started promoting mental health, mental well-being. People used to tell me that this is a Western concept, and that they're not interested in it, and it took some time, and then obviously COVID-19 came, which changed the whole sort of landscape of mental health, and then obviously it brought mental health into the spotlight. Now people are now rethinking the whole sort of design of the well-being culture, and re-architecting to make sure that that sits right in the middle of the business agenda. So it's really, really, really important that it's visible and people know how to access it, and then also checking in on people to make sure that it's being accessed. Be informed by data. It is very crucial. I can't stress that enough. That it needs to be data driven, because again, you need to see the return on investment. So it's really important that we utilize qualitative, quantitative research to be able to ensure that whatever wellness program, well-being, mental health resources you put in, you're able to measure, evaluate it, and make sure that the metrics, obviously, is giving you the data that you need to make sure that, okay, I'm seeing a reduction in absenteeism now. I'm seeing reduction in staff turnover now. Yes, the money we invested in the well-being program, yes, we are seeing the dividends of it. So it needs to be very, very, very clear. Then you know that it's having an impact. And not only that, in terms of qualitative, what is the feedback from staff? What are they saying? Are they seeing the benefit of it individually? Very, very important. Okay. Again, we're not only talking about people who are physically present in the office, we're talking also now the whole landscape of, work has changed now. We don't only have, people who are stationary in the office, we've got hybrid, remote workers. We should make sure it's really important that resources to maintain their physical and mental health, it's very, very essential, and then we involve them in decision making. It's very, very important, because sometimes, I mean, working from home, it is sometimes very difficult. Again, it depends, it varies from person to person. If you're not that organized and you're not able to put boundaries in place, you find yourself working all throughout the day, and you're not able to sort of, separate work from your personal life. So you find out that in as much as, yeah, you're not coming to the office, you're not commuting, and all the stresses to go with it. Again, have you put structures in place to make sure that your physical and mental well-being obviously is not being compromised? Very, very important. So support for hybrid workers is also essential, as the lines between work and life can be blurred, and this can lead to feeling burnt out and decreased well-being. So we've put here that virtual wellness program, access to mental health support, remote team building opportunities, very, very key. I can't stress that enough. Very, very important that that is also prioritized. Now, work-life balance, we hear about it. There's different connotations. Some people talk life balance and stuff because work is part of life. Okay, so the role of the employers in promoting work-life balance, again, is really important that flexible working arrangements are there. So again, sort of in terms of the hybrid workers, remote workers, and stuff. I mean, it varies from organization to organization. Some organizations are really, really good in terms of having this flexible work arrangement, so long as obviously the staff are delivering, I mean, the tasks that they've been assigned to. Again, it helps in terms of promoting employee well-being. Paid time off when the needs are there, it's really, really important. I mean, we work with different organizations, and loads of people call into our 24-hour services, and some of the issues that they present with. I mean, you wonder, how are they able to focus at work? So, I mean, what we normally do when the situation, obviously, we see that if preventative measures are not put in place, then we're looking at something translating to a serious mental health problems, or maybe they already have a mental health situation. How do we manage that so that it doesn't get worse? Again, we work with organizations to help them to give staff who find themselves in that situation some time off, so that they're able to rest and be able to sort of recuperate and come back to work. So again, it's not only that somebody is physically ill that they have those time off. Again, that also has to translate into mental health situations. Health and wellness program, I've already highlighted that, really important. Communication and support is very, very, very key. for people to be aware, different communication through emails, um, social media handles, whatever structures of communication that you've got in your space. We need to harness that to be able to promote the benefits of, a work-life balance, having a work-life balance to be able to promote employee well-being. I mean, we live in an age that technology is well advanced, so it's really, really important. Thank you, Ophelia. Technology and work-life integration. Again, I think I've just spoken about that. Right. So I'm going to. Ophelia has just given me a cue that time. I'm already 30 minutes, so I'm going to skim through this quickly so that we'll be able to finish. So, creating workplace culture that improve employee well-being, creating a creating psychological safety at work, really, really, really important. Psychological safety, people to feel safe. So I think it's really important that we promote self-awareness. Self-awareness, being aware of how your emotional state, how do you function emotionally? What are you able to identify how you function emotionally when you're going through a situation? Are you able to label that feeling? Are you able to have that emotional vocabulary to be able to express the way you feel? In the same way, when you go and see your medical doctor and you tell them, "Oh, I've got a headache," they ask you, "What is it? Is it a fiery headache or is it, tumbling head?" You're able to give a sort of a very detailed information about what you're going through physically. Again, it's really important that we are aware of that in terms of the vocabulary that we use to express ourselves, so that you'll be able to get the help and support that you need. Demonstrate consent for team members as people. Really, really important to demonstrate consent for team members as people. Actively solicit questions. Again, when they're asking questions about issues that are sort of well-being related, we shouldn't just sweep it under the carpet and say that no, we need to meet this target. No, we need to listen, because when we don't listen, I mean, the staff is not going to be productive. They're just going to be there presenteeism and not do much. Provide multiple ways for employees to share their thoughts. Share value and appreciation for ideas. Really, really important. Recognition is very important. Promote positive dialogue and discussion. Again, talk about, be open about it. Be inclusive. Be precise be precise with information, expectation, and commitment. Again, very, very clear. Clarity helps in this area. Explain reasons for change. When there's going to be a change, I mean, again, we do a lot of our placements for services for organization. We need to prep people. What is going to happen? Why it's happening? We don't just sort of, do it last minute. I mean, when you've got people's feelings and stuff, it can be very emotionally distressing. Own optimistic. Again, we all make mistake. If as a manager, you've made a mistake or whatever, or error, just be real, be human, and then people can connect with you. Okay, so the last bit is the EAP as a strategic tool. So, I mean, obviously, this is what we do for organization, and I mean, EAP has been since the 1940s. It's very predominant in the Western culture. On the continent in Africa, I think it's only South Africa that have got it. I mean, it's really entrenched. It's very staple in their, their organizational, space. But in terms of Sub-Saharan Africa, we now sort of, develop it, which is good. As I said, I mean, people are embracing it. So I'll just go through that quickly, because again, it has been a strategy tool because it encompasses everything. So it's like it provides you with a platter of service, a menu of service that caters for both mental health and also employee well-being. So what is EAP? It's a strategic work-based intervention program designed to enhance the psychosocial well-being of all individual employees and the well-being of the employer as a corporate client towards improved productivity of the workforce at large. So the EAP does not only come in to provide support services for the individual employee, it's also there for the corporate and for the organization as a corporate client. So it's a dual responsibility. So in terms of, the individual support is there. They can call in 24/7 and have, address any issues which is personal, work, or family life related. And for the organization, EAP strategically links up with HR as a strategic partner to enhance performance, to mitigate risk, and also human initiative development. But some of the models of the EAP service is telephonic consultancy, face-to-face sessions, virtual, online, worksite sessions, coaching, and well-being presentations. So these are sort of the modalities of how the EAP is accessed. Then EAP as a strategic tool, as I've already said, so ensures the mental health and psychosocial well-being of employees. So the multi-dimensional sort of perspective of the individual employee, and also, as I said, for the organization to support businesses to achieve positive outcomes. Psychosocial support 24/7, life management service. So anything pertaining to life, whatever the issues are, there are multidisciplinary staff, psychologists, psychotherapists, career coaches, dietitians, sleep experts, anything that impacts on your personal life, work life, and then family life. The EAP provides the services to make sure that you have the confidential outlet to be able to function at your best. Managerial consultancy. Again, that is a 24-hour service whereby managers can call the helpline, speak to executive coaches, whereby there are issues in terms of people management issues, team dynamics are not going that right. There are things, sort of, test some ideas with executive coaches and stuff. All these are part of the EAP package. Critical incidents management, again, when somebody has passed away, when there's a fire, COVID-19 was a serious critical incident issue. So all these things, part of the EAP. Executive care and well-being services. Again, these are for CEOs who might not have, the time to access the service, i.e. maybe come in person to have in-person services. Again, we take the best sort of the support service is taken to them. Wellness training and workshop. There's a lot of that, because the phone calls that come through the helpline, we glean the issues. So, for example, if maybe a mining company, the issues are stress related, risk issues, or whatever. These are all sort of information that is outlined in a utilization report, and then with discussions with HR, we are able to come up with topics and teams that will help to address these issues. So there's a lot of training that are industry related, banking sector, mining sector, oil sector, wide range. Yeah. Okay, we're nearly done. Again, I think I've spoken about this, but I'll just skim through it. Employee well-being metrics to evidence return on investment, as I said, is very, very key. So these indicators help organizations to understand the impact of the EAP service on employee well-being, productivity, and overall organizational health. So utilization metrics. So you put EAP in place, or you put any other wellness program in place, okay? What are the utilization metrics? Are people using the services, or it's just sort of, something, a tick box exercise? And are you getting return on your investment? That obviously needs to be measured. Service specific metrics. So again, in terms, as I said, the EAP is a platter of service, but then it's really important that it meets what a particular organization needs. So an organization might not need everything on the platter. It's just like going to a restaurant and they serve you with your menu. You choose what you want, you know? So maybe I just need the emotional and psychological component. That's all I need. Or maybe I just need the physical component, whatever it is, you know, but it's the measuring to make sure that, you know, it is having impact. And then the people that the services is meant for, what are their experiences? What are they saying? Really, really important. Outcome metrics, very important. Financial and qualitative metrics. So financial, you know, whatever you invested in, and you seeing the return on your investment. If you're not seeing the return on investment, that it needs to be reviewed. Maybe you need to change the vendor, or maybe the needs of the staff have changed, and that needs to be measured. I can't stress that enough. It has to be data driven so that it is a success. Okay. Managers and supervisors, roles and challenges. Leaders are intermediaries and key to the good governance of an organization. That's by Forbes. So, as I mentioned earlier, mental health literacy training is key for managers in terms of early identification of mental health issues and proactive intervention. So, I think it's really, really key that, you know, managers are trained to be able to. We're not saying that, you know, they have to be experts in identifying these things. It's just maybe just to listen and understand what the person is going through, just a listening ear and understanding. And then obviously you can refer them or signpost them to the appropriate support that they need. Again, why do managers and supervisors need EAP? Managers and supervisors are also human. They need to be mindful of their personal needs. Again, yes, really important, because managers are sandwiched in the middle, you know, reporting to leadership, and obviously, you know, staff are looking up to them. So it's also really important that you prioritize your need, look after yourself, you know. Accessing the EAP service help to reduce both personal and organizational stress. I've already highlighted that. It is an essential tool in guiding and navigating challenging terrains. Yes. Okay, so we come to the end of it. George, can you play the last video? And then we can.
Uneducated military service is commonly referred to.
I think it sums everything off that we cannot suppress and repress things. It's really important that we talk about the way we're feeling to enable us to enjoy a good quality mental health. And because the energy of our mind is the very essence of our lives. The mind is everything. And once we are sound there, everything falls in place. No matter the challenges, we'll be able to deal with it. Thank you so much. Thanks.
SEDAT Consult, in partnership with Glycol Life Insurance, presents SEDAT HR Digest Soiree and the launch of the SEDAT HR Digest magazine. The theme for the event is Harmony in HR, balancing work, wellness, and well-being. Speakers are Miss Cynthia Kudowu, founder, HR Network Africa, and country manager of BTO Marketing Solutions. Mr. Senyor Ejabin, labor consultant and director of WBHO Ghana, and Mrs. Ladona Ajiman-Buahin, chief operations officer, Glyco Life, and the guest of honor is Patrick Esiama, CEO and board member, Sinlab Ghana. Happening live at the British Council, Accra, on Saturday, the 29th of June, 2024, at 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. sharp. The fee is a cool 100 Ghana cedis. You can call 0591 405555. Don't miss out.
Tropical storms, flooding, wildfires, drought, shrinking fish catch. In a world of ever-increasing uncertainty, nothing is predictable. The smallest stumble or fumble easily ends in a mighty tumble, with your world crashing down around you. Don't crumble. Glyco always has your back. Glyco, we cushion you for life.
Welcome back, and thank you so much, Madam Patience Osaka, for that hacked presentation. That was a lot, but my particular interest, I don't know, maybe it's because of the analytics class coming on, was on the matrix. Because at the end of the day, as HR professionals, when you're trying to sell something to management, you need to be able to tie it to return on investment. And so for me, one particular area of interest is the metrics of it. So what my curiosity basically is, how do you organize the back end, for instance, or how do you package the information such that you are able to get relevant data on the back end to be able to measure the effectiveness of such solutions when you put them in place, assuming you've been given the green light to implement it?
Right. So we've got what we call the EAP utilization report, and with EAP, we've got what we call the core technologies of EAP. Okay. So how you promote the services, marketing it, and stuff. I don't want to bore you with all that. So as I mentioned, we work with different organizations and stuff. So when they call in, we've got our CRM system. All the employees of these organizations are on our system. Okay. So when they call in, obviously we have to authenticate and verify where they're calling from. Then we do an intake assessment. So once all this is going on, all this information is being inputted in our system. So at the end of the month, we're able to glean. So let's say this company, were some of the presenting issues that came that month? Okay, so maybe it was stress related, depression, marital challenges, sexual harassment in the workplace, bullying in the workplace, etc., etc. Right? And then what
Right.
usually happens is that we glean all this information and we do quarterly report. Some organization prefers monthly report, some quarterly report, and then we have it in sort of graphics and sort of charts and stuff to illustrate,
Right.
calls that came in, and then how many calls came in, were they through the telephone, were they through WhatsApp, how many in terms of gender, how many men, how many women, in terms of what do you call it, the other issues, how did that impact on their, so we've got something we call the work impact scale. And again, it's quite detailed, right? I can do another presentation just on that. So we know in terms of where, a particular staff or organization, where they are at in terms of their culture, in terms of the climate, i.e., we're able to measure that when they between 51 to 60, maybe they not sort of function at their best of the function. So all these are collated, obviously, into a report and presented to leadership. Again, able to make sure that these data that we're collating, in terms of absenteeism, we link up with, as I said, we work with HR to be able to attain all these things. So we are, partners in a way. So we're able to
Okay.
get, in terms of how is it, are you seeing a change in terms of, absenteeism? Before
All
we
right.
start, how many people were absent on a monthly basis? now the service has started 6 months, we into 6 months. Has there been any reduction? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So measure in terms of, as I said, staff turnover. How is that progressing? Are you seeing
Mm-hmm.
any changes? So there has to be sort of,
Right.
specific and tangible changes, and also the money that was invested, and most importantly, healthcare costs. How much money are you spending on healthcare per
Yeah.
month? And when you
Yeah.
put, you initiated the well-being program or EAP, let's calculate it and see whether it's reducing or not. So that is really, really important. That's how we measure it. But it's quite detailed. I don't want to bore you with it. Does that answer your question in a way?
Yes, yes, it does. It does to a large extent. Maybe we would have to do a follow up where we focus
Focus
solely
it
on
on,
bit
yeah,
of it. Yeah,
yeah.
that would be. So this is the point where audience, you bring in your questions. I've seen a couple of them. I'll get to it right away. But just before that, I would like to remind us of the HR. So that's HR soiree and the launch of the HR and the magazine.
Ophelia, are you
As
frozen?
this
Oh, wait.
magazine, and
Sorry.
also the analytics training on HR, how you can use HR to interpret impact on return on investment for businesses. And then I'd also like to talk about the certification programs being run by by SEDAT Consult, the certifications for APHRI, PHRI, and then the SPHRI certifications. And if you need, at the moment, there's admission in progress. There are options for in person and online as well. So you can call these numbers for further information. That is 059 140 5555 or 024 231 9390. You can call these numbers for more information. All right, so let's go to the comment section. I have one question. Hi, Laurentia from Kumasi. Good to have you. Hello, Amanda Akushi. Good to have you. Amanda wants to know, how do they get MSMEs on board with regards to these discussions without first thinking of costs? Because most MSMEs think of these things as costs.
I think
That's
I'll answer that question by, and you can research that, but WHO did a research to say that EAP costs less than what an organization will spend an entire year on stationery and teas and coffees. And
mm,
that's how cheap it is, right? That's how cheap it is. But the thing is that because again, it's not a staple resource in our culture, and I spoke about earlier on, people think that it is a Western sort of thing. So immediately, what's
oh,
happening? Sorry, cut off a bit.
yeah.
Yeah. So initially, when we're having those struggles, people were not open to it because immediately, oh, that's cost, an additional cost. I don't want it. But when they started engaging us, they saw that this is good value for money. Come on, I can, my staff can see a psychologist, a psychotherapist, a psychiatrist, and we have lawyers too. But lawyers don't
Mhm.
actually take on cases. They provide advice and guidance. So, for example, somebody is going through marital challenges, okay, and they
Right.
contact the service and they'll get the psychological support. But then they toy in with the idea that, oh, maybe should I consider the divorce pathway? What is that terrain like? Again, a lawyer can come in to provide them
Mm.
with the advice and guidance, but they don't take on cases. Okay, so you've got all these professionals 24/7 around the clock. You can call them anytime that you want, and for the money that you pay, and then it's like a bit like an insurance scheme. So the higher the population, the lesser you pay.
More.
So it
Right.
doesn't cost much, but it's just that once obviously people are not used to it, they hear it, oh my God, no, I don't want it.
Yeah.
As I said, when
Yeah.
COVID happened, people engaged and then they found out that, it's
It's
yeah,
not that.
it's
It's not all that
yeah.
expensive.
So let's take the internal dialogue that is money, money, money out, and think about our well-being. Seriously, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. So, the next question, of same person, how can leadership ensure sustainable mental health and well-being initiatives within the organization? I guess she's talking about leadership contribution
I
to.
think that is very. Thank you so much. That's a very fantastic question. Um, I think leaders need to be real and be authentic and tell their story. Okay, I'll give you an example. We work for an industry. I don't want to mention the industry because of confidentiality. And their top CEO, okay, was having some challenges. So because of their busy lifestyle, um, he used to come to the office to see us very late, and it got to a point he thought that, they've actually signed up for everything that we have, all the platter. So they've actually given us an office in on their premises, whereby, every day of the week, we've got different sort of, professionals there, experts there. So one time she was saying that he comes to the office very early. Why don't we do a morning session? That'll be fine. So we booked him. So by that time, we had another staff we've booked. So he's going to be after that staff. So we were in the session with the staff. We've just finished. And then he came and he was at the door. But on that floor, there's a department there, a huge, massive department. When they saw him, everyone was wondering, oh my God. Because, it's like, people go into that room, they've got issues. Do you understand? You got it. And they saw everybody, so he texted that. So when the person that we were seeing went out and saw him, it was, oh my God, and he came in, had a session, it was fine. The next week, the intake, oh my God, the people who were calling. So it's important that you're authentic, you tell your story. I mean, we're not saying that you should go and tell your business, but it's important that you actually make it easy for people to understand that, this is a service
Yeah.
that is really important, And if you've
Yeah.
had any experience, share it. In the Western countries, they do. Michelle Obama spoke about being depressed when during the COVID. The Prince Harry talked about mental health problem. We need to, talk about these things. And when leaders, talk about it, it makes it easier for, staff to be able to access it. It's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
that's real, but instead of just putting in a service and just being reported to, make
I
it.
guess you could call it leadership by example in
I
real
was just going
time.
to say that exactly. Exactly.
Great. That's fantastic. So I think there are no further questions. So I guess they must have really enjoyed it if there are not that many questions. For me, I thought that was quite an eye opener, especially the distinction between mental health and mental well being. I think Elaine Hammond wants to know whether the slides will be shared. Well, Madam Patience, Madam Patience, what do you say to that?
Yeah, we can do
She
that.
wants to
Yeah.
find out whether the slides will be shared.
Yeah. 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 No problems at all.
All right. All right. So there you go, Elaine. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for this eye opener. And I think this is something we need to be hammering on more often so that people are more aware, it's fresh in people's minds, so that, and we need to focus more also on the strategies to use to implement in various organizations, from SMEs to corporates, because definitely they will need different strategies based on their
Exactly.
capacity.
Structure. Yeah.
Yes. So I think it's a subject that we need to be visiting a lot more often, making enough noise about it. So thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And I look forward to having another session with you so that we expand
Okay.
more on the
Yeah.
subject matter.
I
And
look forward
so,
to that.
folks, Folks, that is it for today. I do hope you enjoyed your time here on the SEDAT HR Digest. It's been brought to you by SEDAT Consult. And I do hope to see you at the HR soiree. And for those of you who are eager to learn more about analytics, I am looking forward. We are all looking forward to seeing you at the training, which is happening from the 26th to the 28th, which is in person. And like I mentioned, you can call the numbers that I mentioned earlier, and you would be assisted on the process going forward. So thank you for the time you spent with us, and I do hope we all have a fantastic week. So make a date again with us next week, Sunday, for another great edition of the SEDAT HR Digest. My name is Ophila Nyamicha, and I've been your host for the day. Have a good evening, everyone. Bye-bye.
SEDAT Consult, in partnership with Glyco Life Insurance, presents SEDAT HR Digest Soiree and the launch of the SEDAT HR Digest magazine. The theme for the event is Harmony in HR, balancing work, wellness, and well-being. Speakers are Miss Cynthia Kudowu, founder, HR Network Africa, and country manager of BTO Marketing Solutions. Mr. Senyor Ejabin, labor consultant and director of WHO Ghana, and Mrs. Ladona Ajimanbuahi, chief operations officer, Glyco Life, and the guest of honor is Patrick Esiama, CEO and board member, Sinlab Ghana. Happening live at the British Council, Accra, on Saturday, the 29th of June, 2024, at 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. sharp. The fee is a cool 100 Ghana cedis. You can call 0591 405555. Don't miss out.
Tropical storms, flooding, wildfires, droughts, shrinking fish catch. In a world of ever-increasing uncertainty, nothing is predictable. The smallest stumble or fumble easily ends in a mighty tumble, with your world crashing down around you. Don't crumble. Glyco always has your back. Glyco, we cushion you for life.
Thank you.